Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday night again, and I am back from my birthday vacation trip, retreat with my absolutely amazing mentor, Masadi, also known as Masajati. And I've been following him for about 15 years. And so he brought a group of us, there were about 20 of us that went to South Africa. Now, this was my first time. And the theme of his retreat was all about worldly wealth. So for me, this gave me an opportunity to reset this framework of what is worldly wealth. Now, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and being worldly was just uh, off limits, and it made it seem like it was really a bad thing if you were worldly. That was really bad. So I'm excited to be back and to bring you some new things about our Claustrum journey. For those of you who have been following along with this journey of our claustrum, not to be confused with colostrum, which is in a mother's breast milk. The claustrum is a part of our brain that relates to consciousness, but there's very little known about it. So I've been on my own little journey of exploration to find out what it's all about and what really is going on with this cycle. They say it takes a cycle. They thought it was every month. Some thought it was every 12 days, other 21 days. But so I've got the download on what's really true. So, how have all of you guys been doing over these last couple weeks? I have to tell you that, a person, so anyone that you're following, they can only help you to the extent that they've helped themselves. And so I wanted to share a few of the things that have been up leveling for myself on this expansive journey of worldly wealth. So we were staying in 5 and 6 star resorts, and it was the first time I've ever flown first class to and from anywhere. Now, with a 15-hour flight, of course, once you've done this, it's hard to go back to anything less. But this was really a big stretch for me. Now, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I grew up on welfare. My parents were from the Depression era. So this was really a big next step, even for me, to be able to do this kind of a trip. And it was really quite amazing in that, one, we got to experience a whole new level of luxury. At least I'll speak for myself. For me, this was a whole new level of luxury, staying in these kinds of resorts. But also, we visited some very profound places that, when you're talking about worldly wealth, I've now discovered that what this means, at least for me, having experienced this, is that our world, our planet, is completely abundant if it's in um, its original untouched nature. So one of the places that we went to was a place called Grootbos, and I don't have. If it was in my newsletter, there's a link to that. It's Grootbos, and this is the largest uh, nature preserve of wild flowers. And there's a fynbos that's in South Africa that is very low growing flowers. And 90% of these flowers that grow over 13,000 hectares of land are not found anywhere else on the planet. So we were tapping into some original energies of how the earth was really meant to thrive in its natural abundance. And there's like a whole ecosystem that goes on there that I had no idea. Maybe you didn't even know that even the mice pollinate flowers. You have mice and all kinds of insects and bugs. Anything that crawls on the ground is basically becomes a pollinator. So it was very interesting and profound to be in this natural energy. We were also did a meditation amongst a grove of trees. I can't remember the exact name of these kinds of trees, but these trees were like 1,000 years old. And this forest grove, it wasn't like these were tall trees, these were low growing trees that grow very slowly. But the energy in there was quite profound and just amazing to connect with these high vibrational energies of natural wealth. So that was one of the places we visited. Another place we visited was called Babylon Storen, and it was amazing, Deborah. And if you've never been to South Africa, I so recommend that you go. The people there were so friendly and filled with joy. And my thoughts about Africa before I went was that I thought South Africa was just taken over by the rich white people, and they kicked all the original indigenous Black people that were there out and basically took over. But I was quite pleasantly surprised to find that 80% of Cape Town is Black. And there are pockets of wealthy white people. There's, no doubt about that. But the fact that they've overcome their hardships and oppression and have just so much love in their hearts and joy, and you can just see it and feel it in their demeanor. It's so amazing. There was one school that we visited that was built from recycled like bottles and tires, and the acoustics in this building was amazing. But there's a group of young people that gave an introductory welcome, singing, dancing. Uh, I forget what it's even called, but it was so heartwarming. It just brought tears to my eyes. You could just feel the love overflowing. Um, yes, about South Africa. So maybe you've been there before. Yes. So maybe you saw the video. I did share it on Instagram, I think, or TikTok. I'll share it again because it's so heartwarming. And these people, it's the music and the frequencies of music and dance and moving your body that I think has been a big influence on how they've been able to overcome these oppressive energies. And so that was really heartwarming. A second place that we visited was called Babylon Storen, and this gives a whole new meaning to this idea of farm to table. And so this huge farm, vineyards, animals. It was all. It's almost like a little village, and of course, really nice accommodations where you can stay there as well. That was phenomenal to be able to see how much of South Africa is kind of turning back to these, roots of farm to table and sustainable agriculture. And so that was also very abundant in being able to see and feel all of this and nourish yourself with all of this really good, healthy food. That was a whole nother level of abundance. So there was that. And then the last place that we went to um, was the safari. Why can't I think of the name? Landalosi. That's what it is. Landalosi. They have 5 camps. We were in Vardy camp. And this place, they're going to be celebrating 100 years next year. So they're very experienced with tracking the animals, preserving the animals. They have their own anti-poaching team that is there to protect. And that was also quite, wow, just amazing. I had no idea we were going to get that close to the animals. They were so tame, not because they're being fed by these people at all, but more because they've built a trusting relationship. They see these jeeps that come by full of people. Maybe it's a little amusing for them. I don't know, but um, not as a threat. We're not viewed as a threat at all. There were one time when the trackers did have to go on foot to kind of flush out one of the leopards that we were following. And what the leopard does kind of just goes down into the grass and hides, and so they kind of fleshed him out, and after that, you could tell he was a little skittish. So we just all backed off, and so they don't want to scare any of these animals, and they want them to feel safe. And so we're able to get actually very close. I've been sharing some of the pictures on Instagram. I'll keep sharing more because I know they only last for 24 hours. So uh, very exciting. We saw so many animals just from the airport to the game preserve. Oh man, we saw so many things. We saw lions. We saw these antelope. We saw, I think, a rhinoceros, hippopotamus, alligators, zebra. And throughout the whole trip, we saw a couple leopards, of course, the elephants. And there was one day that was quite profound to see this live and in person. It was actually an elephant funeral. So what had happened was the night before, a 4-year-old elephant died. They found it sort of stuck in the mud, and the hyenas had been feasting on it all day. And when we came to this area, we could hear the elephants off in the distance. So we went to go see. So this herd of elephants, this was later in the evening. So what they had done is they brought the whole herd. So this happened the night before, and now we're at the next evening when this happened. So the whole herd is there. All the adults are in a circle pointing outward. So they're like creating this um, almost like a cage. And inside are all of the younger baby elephants and younger elephants. And so they're protecting them, and at the same time giving their respect, their condolences, saying goodbye, and also teaching these young elephants what can happen if you stray too far, if you don't listen, or whatever they're trying to teach them. So it was a very profound kind of experience to see this happening live. And then there in the video I shared, there's one part where one of the elephants kind of charges the hyenas, and that was kind of like the last, like maybe fuck you of, to the hyenas. And then they all just kind of backed off and just went their way. So it's kind of interesting how nature deals with loss and um, so forth. It's was really quite interesting. It was an amazing experience. The whole trip was, being able to be so close to all of these live animals and seeing them in real nature, in their abundance and their, connection to the earth, and not being afraid of us. So it was there's so many parts that were just amazing. And being able to stay in these really nice places with great food and great service, and was just really helped me get to a whole nother level of wealth, prosperity, abundance. And not from, I don't know. I used to have a different idea about what people who had a lot of money to enjoy this kind of a adventure, um, what that was like. And so that was a whole nother level of energy that I needed to clear in my own field, because it's like I wouldn't want to be like those people, those snooty people that have all this money, and so that was also some things I had to clear in my own self. And one last thing that I was working on this trip, and I didn't quite even know it. Towards the end of the trip, after we had come back to Cape Town, we there was a small group of us that climbed Lion's Head Peak or Lion's Head Mountain. I'm not sure what the correct term is, but it was very challenging. So it's right, like right across from Table Mountain, which is, I think it's 2,300 feet. So no, actually, Lions Peak is 2,200 feet. So that's even taller. But you have to take a tram up. You can hike it, but we opted to hike the Lions Mountain or Peak, whatever it is, and that was very challenging. Ladders, um, chains you have to hang on to. You kind of like on all fours, just going straight up. My legs hurt for 2 days afterwards, but that was really challenging. I think we ascended about 1,500 feet in about an hour and a half. So it was pretty challenging. The views, of course, spectacular. But I was a little surprised that towards the top, I actually got kind of emotional. And when emotions come up for me, I like to let them pass through because I know it's just moving through. And as I was noticing these energies, I noticed some anger that related to seeing people fall off a mountain. Maybe, these are in past lives. And so releasing some of that energy. But then there was another energy that was a future energy. And this was releasing grief about the people that will not be, I'll say, spiritually ascending with me, and having to say goodbye to people that are just on a different path. And so I was a little surprised by that, but it completely made sense. This metaphor of ascending this very, very steep mountain. Very few people make it to the top. And it kind of feels like that's how this spiritual ascension is. It's not an easy path. And it often feels lonely at the top. And we have to say goodbye to people that are just not on this path, that are choosing something different. This other technocratic timeline, and so that was a little surprising, and so that was kind of my journey. So it was quite amazing. I do want to share an update about the claustrum, and then I want to entertain your questions and maybe some of the things you're going through or curious about with yourself. So, the claustrum. So, for those of you who might be new to this claustrum journey, claustrum is one of the parts of the brain. There's probably about 15, almost close to 20 parts of the brain that I measure and calibrate. So claustrum is one of them. And there's not a lot of information that you'll find about this. They consider it like if your body is a temple, that this claustrum is like the holy of holies. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So I've been clearing what some of this misinformation is. So a lot of them are talking about this sacred oil, this secretion that comes out of this claustrum. So the claustrum is not a gland. So only glands secrete a substance. So it is not a gland. It's actually a very thin sheath of neurons. And so what I've discovered in this exploration is that these neurons, uh, this it does. It's not so much that it secretes; it informs or imbues the spinal fluid with a frequency. And so, a frequency is not a fluid; it's an energy. And so these neurons, which is neurological, electrical, it's more of a frequency. So that's what gets imprinted. That's a word I've been looking for. Imprinted into the spinal fluid. And so then, as this frequency takes a journey from the claustrum down the spine, goes down the spine. So as it's going down the spine, um, it at each juncture or each vertebrae, it rests for a moment until it gets up to 100%. So at each vertebrae, it's going down, 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 um, and getting up to 100% before it goes to the next vertebrae. And of course, activating the nerves that branch off of the spinal cord and the whole spinal column. So it's activating and upgrading our nervous system. Now, this is a part of the brain that when I first calibrated it, and almost all the people that I've measured, the claustrum is at a very, very low percentage, like 15%. I think mine was at 15% when I first checked it. So they, the ones who have been programming us with all of these aging programs, they have also been programming the claustrum so that it doesn't work. It doesn't function very fully. So when it's functioning at 100%, it's going to take this journey. It's going to activate each one of these points as it goes all the way down the spine and then all the way down to the coccyx, the tailbone, and then it comes back up the spine. And so the first time I calibrated this whole cycle, it took 19 days. Now, since then, it has shortened. The journey has shortened. So the first time it took 19 days, actually 18. I think I did report it was 19, but it was actually 18 days. And then it rested at the claustrum for 5 days before it was able to get up to, well, it actually only took 2 days to get up to 100%, but then it rested there at 100% for 3 days. And so this has been sort of the way the cycle is going. It's getting shorter and shorter, at least with me. The second time this whole circuit, it took 16 days. So instead of 18, it took 16 days. But an interesting thing happened because it was almost up to 100. It was almost back up to the claustrum. Well, it was at 95% up to the claustrum after just 9 days. But then I got on a very long flight to South Africa, and it kind of backtracked. It went back down to C3 before it went back up again. So that's why this journey took 16 days. I think it would have been shorter had I not gotten on a plane with this long trip. The third journey only took 9 days. It rested at the claustrum for, what was it, 3 days. And so now I'm on the fourth cycle of measuring this claustrum. It looks like it's going to be about a 9-day cycle where it rests at the claustrum for maybe 3 days as it's getting back up to 100%. So the thing that's important, or yes, that the way that we can work with this, well, there's a couple of ways. One is when it gets back up to the claustrum, this frequency, and the claustrum gets back up to 100%, this is when we can program our own claustrum with how we want it to operate in our system. What do we want it to amplify in the various organs? Maybe you've not been well. Maybe you have chronic issues. Maybe you have, I don't know, whatever medical thing you have, that you can start programming the claustrum so that all of your organs function at 100%. And whatever symptoms you're having, that those will start to regulate as your body, with a fully functioning nervous system, starts to help create your entire physiology so that it operates at 100% in all of the body systems and body organs. So this has been a fascinating journey. And so one of the things that a great question that you guys can ask, maybe you're curious, because by answering the question I'm about to tell you, we've been able to discover that. So the question being, where's my colostrum? What percentages is it at? Um, I'll tell you where it is in the journey right now with myself. But what I've discovered is that those who have been following along with my system, the infinity system, that have been staying grounded, their energy is flowing, that they have been going right along with this journey that I've been on. And so where I've been, where my colostrum has been, they've been at the same place. And so that kind of blows out of the water this idea that I had read online, that they think this journey starts when the moon enters your sun sign. So that happens once a month, right? So that's not true, because otherwise we would not all be in sync. So the beauty of this, and the thing that excites me about all of this, is that it feels like this is a whole nother level of being able to step into this energy of oneness. So if those who have ascended or who are on this ascension path are all on the same Claustrum journey, then it's like we create a mastermind where we're all tapping into even a much higher frequency. And as you know, when a mastermind connects, everything gets amplified. You can all go further, farther, faster. So, this is what I am intending for Claustrum, at least on my journey. And I just celebrated my 70th birthday in South Africa. And so, if you want to follow someone who is on a longevity path and doing it at the front of the wave, like I don't know anybody else that's doing what I'm doing. Not that that makes me any better, or it's not an ego thing, but I apparently know things that other people don't know. And part of this is because I believe I have come from the future where all of this is common knowledge. And so spirit is revealing to all of this to me little by little as people are ready for the next level. And so if you want to join on this longevity adventure that I'm on, and I can, my goal is to continue to reverse aging or stop aging or something along those lines. I think my biological age, it's been measured in two different ways. One was 59, the other was 51. My goal is 49, and maybe even reaching 44 as an ideal. So that's where I'm headed. If you want to join me, if you want to join on this adventure, a great way to do that would be to join us tomorrow. Once a month, I do an activation, and it's always very powerful, always on a different subject. So now that we're moving into winter, we're in this fall season, slowly moving into winter. We want, or its spirit is revealing to me that this is the time where we need to start getting our bodies ready for the winter season. So, this tomorrow for our luminary activation, we are going to be activating our claustrum, activating claustrum, making sure it's at 100%. Where is it on the journey? I'm about to tell you. And get your claustrum in order so that this is kind of like the beginning of getting your nervous system in order. So, tomorrow, we're not only going to do the claustrum, but we're also going to be I'm going to be calibrating and measuring your entire nervous system. Um, and because the claustrum is really it activates your spine, your nervous system, your brain, etc. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. So I hope you will be joining us. Um, yes, it is interesting that it has shortened. This is just a completely new exploration for me. I love being an adventurer and including like what's going on with my body. And so I trust what spirit is revealing to me. And so, where are we on the claustrum journey right now? Let's see. I will tell you just by calibrating in a second, but I wanted to see where I left off. So I've been tracking this every day since about August 13th, I think. And so let's see. We've come down and we're on the upward cycle right now. So let me just check something first. Last I checked it was today at it was around 1:30, 1:40 actually, and it was at L3. It had just gotten to 100% and not quite gone to L2. So it's going up. And let's see, I don't know. I've never done it like a share screen, but um, I'm wondering if I wanted to share a picture of the vertebrae. I have a chart that I use that tells what each of the vertebrae represents. Let me see if I can pop it in the chat. I don't know if this will work, but hey, I'm always about trying new things, right? Okay, so let's see if here's the chart. Hang on. Command C. Okay, let's see if this goes in here. If this works like this or not. Probably not. I think you can only post comments. No. Well, let's see. I put it in there. Yeah, okay, so it won't work. Okay, never mind. All right, so where are we now? So it was at L3, and right now we are at see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we go to the thoracic, which would be I want to start at the right place. T 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So between what did I say, 1:40 and now, which is like 5 hours later, it has gone up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertebrae. Let's see, we're at T8. Okay, good. Now, T8 is actually a very interesting place that we could even talk about right now. That when I was on the plane, when I first got on the plane to come home, I was actually having a hard time taking a deep breath. And then I found out that that's where the claustrum was, right at this T8, which is where the spleen is. So the spleen also relates to our immune system, and it's right kind of at the solar plexus as well. And so as I was clearing this energy, uh, then was able to breathe a little easier. So one of the things I've been kind of tracking as well as the colostrum goes through these different vertebrae is noticing if I'm having any symptoms. Sometimes I've had itchy ears. Sometimes I've had a hard time taking a deep breath, um, different things. So this would be a great thing for you guys to notice. Like, okay, so right now it's at T, uh, 10, 9, 8. Okay, T8. So This will be a good thing to see where you guys are so we can kind of compare because this is also more data for me in this whole thing. So, let's entertain some of your questions. We do have Instagram on tonight, but I don't know that you guys get to ask questions. Quite a few people have joined over here, though, so that's nice to see you guys all over there. Hang on, we're cleaning glasses so I can see something here. Um, so yeah, so if you guys want to know where your claustrum is, that would be a great question to ask. Of course, if you have other questions, that would also work well. Oh, nice to have so many of you here over on Instagram. Okay. There is a way to ask a question, and I don't remember what it is. Somebody posted it last time. I think you have to um, subscribe or something. I don't know. Or if you really want to ask a question, there you guys will figure it out. Okay, so we're over here. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. We'll see what questions we have. Can EFT tapping help with claustrum? I have no idea. That would be a great thing for you to explore. It sounds like you're a tapper. I've not quite got on the tapping bandwagon. It just didn't quite resonate for me. Not saying that it doesn't work, just not my thing. It was a fabulous trip. So, yeah, if you've never been to South Africa, you must go. All right, Shelley is the first one to ask, where's my claustrum? Okay, so you are at, so we are on the thoracic. T12, 11, 10, 9. You're at a T8. Same place as me. Okay, great. And then Hasimi, Masimi. Where is yours? You are first of all, you're not grounded. So that has been an interesting phenomenon. Usually, people that are not grounded are maybe 3 or 4 vertebrae behind us. So you are at T. Let me just pull this up. Hang on a second here. There it is. Okay. You are at 12, 11, 10, T10. So you're 2 vertebrae behind us. Okay, so note to self, that's good information for me that that's still holding true, that if you're not grounded, you're going to be a little bit behind the rest of us. All right, Christine, how old I am. How old you are, I have no idea. I I would not know because that could be measuring a frequency and um, yeah, I've not ever been asked that question. But if you'd like to know where your claustrum is, I'll tell you that. Um, Christine, let's see. You are also not grounded. So let's see where your claustrum is. L5, 4, 3. Okay, so you're quite a ways behind. You're at L3, which is that's quite a ways behind from the rest of us. So note to self, there you go. Deborah, where is yours? Okay, let's see. Deborah is also not grounded. So I'm going to tell you that because it's relevant to where your claustrum is. L5, 4. You are also at L3. That's the lumbar. All right. Thank you for the birthday wishes. It's Mina. Yes. Thanks for joining us, Mina. And I loved hearing about your trip. May I please know if I'm keeping pace with the rest of the group? So with the claustrum, you are at T12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Yes, you are, Anne. You're at T8. That's because you're grounded. Yes. Tisha wants to know if she is grounded. You are. Great job. You are grounded. And are you curious to know where your claustrum is? Tisha. Deborah, I think I did do where your claustrum is, Deborah. Yes, I did. Okay, Christine, you're grounded now because we just knowing that you went, oh, okay, I'm not grounded, and then you grounded yourself. So let's see where you are on the claustrum level, if that changed anything. I don't even remember what I told you, so you'll have to compare here. T12, 11, 10. You're at T8, so I know you weren't there before. So, ta-da! That's a great piece of information that's showing that if you just get grounded, you can change where your claustrum is. That's how powerful and quickly these things can work. So, just saying. Okay, in love with me. Your claustrum is at 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 11, 10, 9, T8. You're grounded as well. So you're right there with some of the rest of us. Okay, so Tisha does want to know where her claustrum is. You are grounded, Tisha. Now 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, T8. So you're with us, with the rest of us. I'm not surprised. I'm super far behind, and I think I've only heard you discuss claustrum once or maybe twice before. Well, you're a lot faster at operating your energy field than you realize, Christine. So that's kind of the profound thing about this energy work is that many of you are far more capable than you realize, and that you can move these energies much faster than you'd think. All right. Yes, you are. Mina. Okay. Yes. Appreciate being reminded about not being grounded. I just grounded. How long does it take for my claustrum to catch up? Well, let's see. You might already be there. It can happen that quickly. T12, 11, 10, 9. Yes, you're there. T8, Mina, right there. I cannot tell how long it's been, Christine, since you've been grounded. It might not really matter. What matters is if you're grounded now, which you are. And maybe you can let us know if you can tell the difference. Can you tell the difference that you're grounded now and you weren't before? It's sometimes really subtle. Sometimes we're thinking that things have to be big and booming, the big booming voice, but change and information can be very, very subtle. All right. Deborah, okay, I should be grounded now. At least I better be. Okay. You are. Good job. You're grounded now. Great. Shelley, do I have any dead people in my field? You do. You have 3 in your root chakra. They have some fear. So there's that. Okay. You have an amazing teacher. Well, I'm glad you think so. No, I love working with you, Christine. So, and let's see. I mean, I can totally tell the difference now that I'm grounded again. Yes, good. So this stuff doesn't have to be hard, people. It doesn't have to be hard. And sometimes we just need a little reminder. Sometimes we start working on default and on autopilot, and we forget that we don't have to feel bad. We don't have to feel airy and spacey, and we can get solid and grounded. And that's going to help with our confidence, our certainty, the answers that are coming in. Um, Anything attached to your right eye, Brooke. Let's see. Let's see. So right eye. Yes, actually both eyes. You do have some cording in there. So that's that AI cording. Um, less heavy. Christine's feeling less heavy after noticing she's grounded. Okay, good. And all right, let's see if Instagram has figured out how to ask questions over here. Yay! I see questions. Good. Okay, parallel realities. Yes, I can see this. So my guess is that you'd like to know what your claustrum is. Um, well, let me pull up the chart. It's a little easier to follow that way. So first of all, you are grounded, so that's good to know. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. And you are right along with the rest of us who are at T8, where the spleen is. So great job. And let's see what other questions you guys have. So here's another thing that I will post because is that right? No, we need to go over here. Sorry. For our where is it? Okay, so let me do this. This is the easiest way to get to my website. Okay, right there on it's right on the screen. My website, KimberlySherry.com. If you want to join us tomorrow, just scroll down the page and you'll see the luminary activation on the left, and that will get you in and get you the access you need to join us for tomorrow. Tomorrow's activation is at 11 a.m. So we do an activation the first Thursday of every month. And yeah, so join us tomorrow if you'd like your claustrum activated, your entire nervous system cleared. We're going to be clearing the spine. And I was working with a woman today who's suffering from a lot of fatigue, very tired, and she had a lot of interference in the spine, especially in that neck area, and was also suffering from some like carpal tunnel. And so all of this neck stuff can interfere with that. So we need a clear nervous system so that all the body parts function. So we're going to be clearing your spine tomorrow as well. I'm looking forward to it as well, Anne. All right, Deborah, my daughter is having trouble with her eyes. Can you get any feelings about that? So she also has those AI cords in both eyes. This is not an uncommon thing to find, that AI, ancient interference, not artificial intelligence, but this ancient interference plugs into our eyes and our ears because it wants to control what we're seeing, wants to see what we're seeing, and wants to interfere with what we're seeing. They don't want you to see the truth, right? So they will interfere with that. Yeah, so Deborah, you can help her, or she can do it herself if you just let her know. Pull those cords out. All right, Mina. I'll be in a car during the activation, but we'll be there. Looking forward as well. Okay, great. We'll see you tomorrow, Mina. It's been a while, so it'd be nice to reconnect. Let's see. We're almost to the top of the hour. Any other questions? So without you, I don't run my energy as often as I should, but right before you went live, I checked. didn't want to get caught with my pants down, so to speak. Um, and I thought I was. What can I do? You thought you were grounded, but you weren't. Is that what you're asking? Um, well, you can feel the difference. I think you mentioned that you can feel the difference in being grounded now versus how you were before. So keep grounding until you feel the feeling that you're feeling now that you're grounded. That's what I would say. Susan, I had cataract surgery 14 years ago. My left eye was 2020. Now it's 2050. Right eye is still 2020. Is this ancient interference? Two, um, it could be, but no, it's actually, you don't have any cords in your eyes, but it could relate to some much deeper energies. Cataracts are like the accumulation of energy. And so if there's been things, whether it's in this lifetime, it could even be from past lives, but things that you don't want to see or that you saw that were not good. Maybe you saw some things in your life. I'm getting from about the age of 5 that maybe you wished you hadn't seen. And so that energy starts to congeal and create those filters in your eyes. I'll see you tomorrow, Deborah. We have a great time, don't we? All right, let's see. We'll go to Instagram, check if there's any more questions there. Nope. Okay, well, thanks for joining us all. And for those of you who'd like to join us tomorrow for this activation, get your entire nervous system cleared, um, you can go to my website, which is not that one, right there, KimberlySherry.com, and scroll down to the luminary activation. And we'll meet you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Um, and Mina is saying, I've been wanting to put myself out there on social media to promote my services, but have been feeling blocked. Yes. Well, you lost your grounding cord again. We're just talking about that. So, yeah, when you join us tomorrow, Mina, we are going to go through the whole process of running your energy so that everyone will be grounded. The energy is going to be flowing again. And so that'll be a great way to get started. And of course, we are working on the claustrum and nervous system. But if you haven't been running your energy, we're going to be doing that, the whole system tomorrow. And that's going to help with a lot of things. So you probably have also forgotten about creating an avatar for your business. So that avatar, Mina, has no grounding cord. So that's a whole nother thing you can work on, is running the energy through that business avatar. All right, my lovelies, I will be back next Wednesday for those of you who like to come on and ask questions. For those of you For those of you who want to join us live, come tomorrow and we will see you live. We'll get you all buttoned up in your nervous system. It's going to be flowing. You're going to feel relaxed and calm. For those of you who are just a nervous wreck, come join us and start to calm down. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a blessed night. All right. Bye. You're so welcome.